Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel for day 2 of our collection showcase. Yesterday was day 1, today will be day 2 in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, thanks for coming back to the channel. I am your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, that's right man, please hit that notification bell. It helps me out a ton and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Everything from countdowns to reviews to stop motions and everything else in between. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, and the Autobot family. Have a look for me everywhere across social media. And I said that this was day 2 of our kind of collection showcase. It's also day 4 of TransformAThome. This is being recorded on April the 30th of 2020, and as of this recording yesterday, last night, Kato had the honor of being able to interview the great Stan Bush as part of this week's event festivities. And if you haven't checked that out, you really should. It was a real treat and a real good time. If you're watching this on April the 30th, hey man, join us tonight for the live show. Why not? But the focus in this video is going to be the collection showcase. And if you're not watching this on April the 30th, hey, I'm glad that you're by, and let me know what you think as we move through. In part 1, we looked at items that are in the house that are not part of my personal collection. They belong to one of the scraplets. We also looked at a few quirky things. Today we dig into items that are actually mine. Actually, a couple of things yesterday were mine. The kind of cube was mine. The DVD Blu-ray sets are mine. Today, though, we're going to kind of dive into still a couple of quirky things like Decals and the Covenant of Primus, but we're going to start to look at the actual plastic, the actual characters that are in my collection. Some custom, some not. Again, to make these chunks sort of manageable, I'm dividing it up. So this is part 2. This isn't definitely not my entire collection, though you will sort of get a glimpse of the entire collection and you'll get an idea of where we're going with subsequent parts. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get into part 2. Okay, so now we get into the items that are actually part of my collection, though we do have one thing that I need to touch on in a little bit. And where are we going to begin? We're going to begin outside. This, of course, is the Decepticon insignia that Starscream wife has on her car. Me, on the other hand, you guys know just as well as I do that I'm a good guy. So, of course, I have an Autobot symbol on my vehicle, Though, after winter, it could really use a cleaning. And when you come inside, you're greeted with a console table that has a welcome sign on it, but you will also notice that there's an all-silver Optimus Prime. And next to him is an all black colored Sailor Moon. The Sailor Moon is a little statue that Starscream wife spray painted. The Optimus was one of those, I don't know exactly what you call it. It was, in Canada it was about $7. I think it was like maybe $4 in the US. And they were at Walmart here. I don't know where they were in the US, but a lot of people saw them and they, like, their arms could move, the head could turn around, and maybe a waist, and that was about it. There was an Optimus, there was a G1 Megatron and a Soundwave, there was a movie Bumblebee that I saw, a movie Shockwave that I saw, a G1 Starscream. I don't know. They were just like figurines, I suppose. They were out maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, around here anyway. I haven't seen them in a while, but I think a lot of people know what they are. So that's kind of, that's kind of something that explains what we're like as people. If you wonder, like, oh, how much does, like, geekdom reign in our house? Well, I can always show you. That right there is above our console table. It should be very clear how much we thrive on our geekdom around here. And this was our custom-made cake topper when we got married, well, almost a year ago now. One side, of course, is Sailor Moon. Well, actually, it's Princess Serenity, if you know anything about the fiction. The other, of course, is Optimus Prime. Okay, so before we get into the plastic that I have, a few more odds and ends here that I figured I'd get out of the way because they are part of the collection. Not the least of which is one issue of the Marvel Comics that I have here. I do have a few more of them, but they're not here. They're at a different location. As are the G1 characters that I still have. They're at a different location, but every single G1 character that I personally own has been reviewed here on the channel. So it's all been covered. Not a huge amount, but it's all been covered. Besides for that issue that was gifted to me, I have maybe 3 or 4 more issues, not a lot. As you know, as a young lad, I didn't like that they had character models that didn't look like what I saw on the TV screen in the cartoon, so I wasn't a huge fan. I've always defaulted to the like the television show, I call that the original animation. It's what I've always referenced. I have a couple of pairs of Transformer socks, Autobot symbol, and it says Transformers on it, and they're blue. My other pair of socks has Optimus Prime. Beyond that, this shirt, it's older now, but it's honestly, I like it. It's a good shirt. And I have this shirt that was bought on clearance, and I can't fit it because I quit smoking and I put on a bunch of weight and I can't fit it now. One day I will be able to wear this, but I love the artwork on it. Come on. And many people already saw this. My custom Autobot tie. Yeah, so I'm happy with that stuff, but that's it for kind of the odds and ends. And I thought that maybe one of the best spots for us to begin would be with this weird mishmash. These are a smattering of characters that either are only parts of, because I use them for customs, or they're ones that have been replaced, or they're ones that are sort of waiting in the wings to become replacements. I'll explain kind of as we go through here. You'll see what I mean. This is sort of an aside to my main collection. So this bag here, for example, this has extra parts to Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus in it. I have replaced the cab with the KBB version of the Perfect Effect white Optimus, the white Magnus cab thing. You know what I'm talking about. I think it was PCPE 17. I'm not sure. I think we all know what I'm talking about there. I keep all of my blast effects in a bag as well, because I have heard of these when they get warm kind of sticking onto the points on different characters and being very, very hard to get off. I think they're great. I don't know if you should display your characters with these on them. Slimer's also in there from Ectotron. We have most of a Age of Extinction Slog here. He's missing a couple of parts that I've used for customizing. Same with this Waspinator and Age of Extinction Lockdown. And this Transformers Prime Bulkhead. Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Bulkhead. Fun fact, he sort of stood in as my version of Brawn for a while because I really dug the coloration of him. So kind of taking that stuff out of it, you will notice as well we have, this is the Generations drift. I found this guy for $3 thrifting, but unfortunately, I didn't realize it at the time, he's missing a door. Now, I do have one that is going to be coming to replace it, thankfully, thanks to a good friend of the channel, Event Progenitor. But for now, he doesn't have his door, he doesn't have his swords, but you kind of couldn't beat $3, you know? Once he's completed, I do plan for this guy to replace my Age of Extinction drift. I didn't get the Last Night drift. We also have Titans Return Bumblebee over there. I've replaced him fairly recently. We'll see that a little bit later. We also have a KO thing, transforming robot thing that Maximal 10 gave me. It's not good. It's just awful, man. But I think that's why he gave it to me. We have Classics Universe Wheeljack, who is fantastic. Some people have opted to keep him as their Wheeljack, man. I totally get it. He's still terrific to this day. Next to him, we have Generations Hoist, who's a bit small. If you're more into the comics, you would probably prefer that Hoist. I'm a G1 guy, so I gotta say, I wasn't sure about the Earthrise, but once I got him in hand, man, did I love that guy. We'll see him a bit later. We have my custom Evasion mode Optimus Prime, kind of behind Wheeljack there. Anybody who has watched Universal Collision knows exactly what that Optimus is all about, and I've talked a couple of times about what I did to customize him. We have the Siege Megatron next to him. Right now I still use Hegemon, Toy World's Hegemon, as my Megatron, but this guy is kind of the stand-in upgrade to Calm eventually. So I absolutely still dig him. Am I in for the Earthrise one? I don't think so. I don't think there's enough remolding or change done for me to bother with it. I guess we'll see as time goes on, but I kind of like this Megatron. I don't really have a problem with him. I thought it's definitely not perfect, but I thought he was alright. He was fairly strong. Behind all of them we have Volcanicus. My Volcanicus and my Power of the Primes Dinobots were all replaced with the Black Mamba set. So I have this entire other set that I kind of don't have a use for. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. We'll see as time goes on. Right now over here you see a boxed Earthrise Starscream. I did review him. I'm not a huge fan of that mold. I'll get it for the cone heads, but I'm really not personally a huge fan. I know a lot of people are, and it's popular, and it's not even that it's bad, because it's not. It's fine. It's great if you really want that Earth mode, and it is definitely an improvement over the Classics Deluxe. I just compare it to the Siege, and I prefer the Siege. Now remember, I use mine for animation and stuff, so the more articulation, the more stability and whatnot means a ton to me. That's why I prefer the Siege. But to each their own. And you will notice that we have the Generations Springer there as well. He's not mine any longer. I actually have the Siege one as my Springer, but when we went through the other collection for one of the scraplets, I forgot that this guy was also in the room. He wasn't over with the rest of the display, but he no longer belongs to me, though he is in the house to this day. That Springer is still one of the strongest molds, feats of engineering, whatever you want to call it, that they have done, I would say, in the last 10, 12 years. He is fantastic. That mold is fantastic. And last but not least, before we get on to the main event, which is kind of the main display that you guys usually see behind me at the intros and the outros, we have a couple of stragglers, I suppose you could say. The very first right up front is Siege Asrotrain, who I'm real iffy on. Like, he's good. The engineering is good. But he's way too small. There's no way he's a leader. There's no way I've been able to justify it. I got the guy on sale, and it's just not, it's barely a Voyager. Honestly, it's barely a Voyager because he's so incredibly tiny. If they took this guy and they got rid of all of the extra junk, and when I say that the extra junk, I mean like the Tinder car, the snowshoes, which he has on now, by the way. Keep his blaster, but make him just the height of the Titan's Return. Just that height. I think it'd be okay. This is a case where I think this is quite good, but it definitely needs the oversized treatment. Absolutely. So we have him. He's good, but I don't know what to think of him or what to do with him, honestly. I'm not as blown away by him as a lot of people have been. Then we have my custom Liokaiser, who is down because I'm very soon going to be doing a custom Death Cobra and eventually Cobra Breast that I will want to show off at least with these guys. Of course, we have Guy Hawk, and we have Kill Bison, and we have Leozak, and we have Jaguar, and we have Hellbat over here holding really two of the blasters along with Ion Scythe. And I don't know, did I miss anyone? Drillhorn, I missed Drillhorn. And we have all of their partners, like we have the Rhino, and we have Leozak's Lion Breast, and we have Jaguar's Jaguar, we have the Hawk Breast, we have Komori Breast, and the other one I think is Bison Breast. So we have all of them made out of the Siege cassettes, mostly Ravage and Laserbeak, though Komori Breast is made from a version of Ratbat. This holds together generally quite well. It's pretty darn solid. I don't know why they didn't do something like this to begin with, but sooner or later, like I said, there's going to be a Death Cobra that I'm waiting on things for in order to make. But it's coming, man. It's coming. Next to him is someone that I was never going to actually get. I was very happy with the Generations Leader class, Jetfire, Skyfire, whatever you want to call him. And then I managed to find this guy really on sale for, it was less Canadian than the American price. Like in Canada, this guy retails, I think, for $119, maybe $129, and in the US he was $79 at regular price. Though some people, I think, in the US got him for $45. I managed to find this guy one day on sale on Amazon for $76 Canadian. I jumped on it and got him. And I don't regret it for a second. Jetfire or Skyfire, whatever you want to call him, is amazing. If you didn't get him, do yourself the favor, man. Get him. He's amazing. And then down on the far end is my custom Deathsaurus, who is really the Deathsaurus torso that was supposed to be part of this guy. And I gave him 4 new limbs, that being Dreadwind and Blackwing, as well as my custom Whisper made from the like Bruticus Blastoff plain mold. I've redone it as like a full-size version of Whisper. And the other one is Off-Road, and they make up that guy. That being said, the hardest part here was changing the head, because I took the Liokaiser head from that torso and put it over here, and I took the Defensor head from Jaguar and I put it over and done some work on it to make it somewhat similar to Deathsaurus. Truth is, we need a proper Deathsaurus. I don't know what I would do with this guy then, but we do need a proper Deathsaurus. Nevertheless, 2 great combiners, and of course Skyfire. Would I like to have the Seacons? Absolutely, man. We'll see if it happens. And now, of course, we come to what could be called the main display, which is this display right here. It's too challenging to kind of show everything that's in the display case, so I'm going to kind of take out each shelf and sort of show you what's in there rather than trying to dig into the display case itself, because there's too much just crammed in here. There's not a lot of room here, so I have to make the most of it while I can. You will probably notice, and you've probably seen it before during some of the intros, this white cabinet next to the display. And you might even know that on the top of said cabinet there are certain items. So we're going to deal with those couple of items before we deal with the main display itself. And when we get to the main display, we're going to start at the very bottom. The very bottom 3 shelves. The one where you can see Megatron and Starscream there on the front. The next you see Titans Return, Asrotrain, and Bludgeon at the front. And the next you see, let's say, Springer and Impactor at the front. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll take it out, give you a good look at all of them. But before we do that, let's come up here first. This is kind of over my computer, and it is, of course, a huge Autobot symbol. And most people will know that this is actually the container that houses the Covenant of Primus when you buy it. And it's you know, why not leave it on the wall? It does technically transform, and it does technically have a transformation sound. And of course, normally inside is the Covenant of Primus. That's pretty heavy on the wall, so the Covenant is actually down in a bookshelf, but I suppose you could say that's part of my collection as well. But on top of that white case that I was talking about, in behind you can see that we have Dark Energon Starscream. That's actually Starscream Wife's. This is really her display. And you see Harley Quinn there, and Dark Lady, and Tuxedo Mask, and Sailor Moon, all of them SH Figure Arts. We have one of those, I think it was Q Transformers. This is the My Melody one, which Starscream Wife likes to call Pink Bunny Prime. And I guess technically the 1G1 mold, at least, that is here in the house next to Unikitty. That G1 mold, of course, is, you guessed it, Starscream. No, this is not mine. This is the reissue that came out maybe last year. This also belongs to Starscream Wife. Now, on to the main display, and specifically the shelves at the bottom. And there you go. So you see now that we're up to my overall case, as it were. And we're going to do each shelf one at a time. Why? Because they're kind of jammed in there so tightly and so far back in the shelves that it would be very difficult for you guys to see what items I actually do and do not have, including what ones I have customized. So we're actually going to kind of pull out each shelf. These shelves behind me, we're actually going to pull each of them out, and we're going to take a look at what I sort of cram into each one. Stick around, because part 3 is going to be coming up. Don't forget this week to keep using the hashtag TransformAThome, because it lets you kind of get in with the festivities on my channel, on all of the partner channels. Check out all the details on tformers.com. In the meantime, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, baby, please hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, there is a donate link down in the description. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day, you do make a difference. And I look forward, man, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit. Either in the live shows, tonight, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, baby, inside the videos.